the phones? I guess they're muted. I hope they can. Okay, so thank you all for participating in our Lunch and Learn today. Perfect your LinkedIn profile. Me and Sam have a lot of different tools that we're going to show you today that if you do not have a LinkedIn profile, you can create one and make it a good one. And if you have one already and needs a little updating, we'll show you how to do that as well. So, a little overview of what we're going to talk about today. The subjects on the left I'll be covering, and then Sam will come up after me, and then she'll cover the ones on the right. So a little bit about me, for any of y'all that do not know. I am the Internal Communications Coordinator here at Danos. Previously, I was a recruiter for about, I'd say, 5 years. So I've been 6 years with Danos. Thank you, recruiters. And then before that, I was a recruiter for 5 years at Nicholls State. So both, go Colonels. So with both positions, I use LinkedIn a lot. And then also, we're going to talk about all the different aspects of the profile here, but in my summary, I'm a marketing professional who loves learning technology that enhances the way I create, cultivate, and communicate. So that's a little bit about me. So let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn. Does anybody want to give me their idea of what LinkedIn is?
Social media for business.
Social media for business? I heard networking, recruiting. Good deal. So y'all pretty much nailed it. So it is the premier social media business platform. It's the biggest one out there. It has over 562 million LinkedIn users. So if you're not on it, you need to get on it because pretty much everybody else is. Within those users, there are some senior level influencers, decision makers, so it's not just entry level. These are some of these people that you can connect with through LinkedIn. So the reason I think LinkedIn is going to be the premier platform for social media going forward is that Microsoft invested a good bit of money in 2016, $26.2 billion to be exact. So if this guy believes in LinkedIn, I think you should too. I'd be happy to.
Does everyone know who that is?
Bill Gates?
It's a happy rich man.
All right, so why you should update your profile? Really, comes down to first impressions. So I can't speak for you, but I know I've gotten off the phone a couple times with somebody that I was talking business with, and I want to know, I got a little curious and want to know who they are, what they do for their company, what they look like. I go straight to LinkedIn. So if I'm doing that, and a couple of you may be doing the same, other people are doing that to you. So you want to make sure your profile is up to date. And just as a company, as a whole, we look a lot stronger when everybody's updated their profiles, and we kind of look like a cohesive unit to where anybody, a customer, anybody we do business with, goes check anybody at Danos, checks their profile, will look professional across the board. It's a good looking marketing team.
Thank you.
I've never had so much applause, all right? It's just getting started. So, preparing your profile. You want to have a great photo, you want to have a clear headline, and you want to have a great summary. So let's talk a little bit about the photo. So you want to have a quality one, close up, and professional. How many of you have taken a headshot at headquarters so far? Great. Have you uploaded it to your LinkedIn? Couple. Okay, good. If you have not, that's a great photo to use. We do those photo shoots, Renee, like what is it?
A couple times a year.
A couple times a year. So we send out a little correspondence ahead of time. Make sure you take advantage of that because that could be a great profile picture for your LinkedIn page. A couple of photos to avoid. So I'm going to pull up these first two on the left. You give me your first impression of what you think is kind of wrong with these photos.
Head smash.
Head smash. Not clear.
It was like a mugshot.
Mugshot was exactly what I was going to say.
You can't see the bottom
You can't see the bottom, guys.
It's backlit.
Backlit.
Shadow man.
So a lot of things you can see right away as these photos clearly have some things wrong with it. Obviously the lighting, the mugshot issue, and you can't really see the guy's face at the bottom. What about these on the right?
Is he a musician trying to advertise?
Activity, music. So y'all kind of nailed it on that. You know, you might have some hobbies that you're proud of and you want to show off, but LinkedIn's really about business, being professional. So leave those out of your profile picture, and you want to have more of a professional photo for your profile picture. And then lastly, I'm sure you recognize a good bit of these people, but unfortunately you are all not celebrities. So if you have more than one person in your profile picture, chances are somebody going to your profile might not know who you are. So keep it just you in your profile pictures.
Dave, real
Yep.
quick, one of my pet peeves is, this is obviously a tool that we use. Please don't take pictures with fish or deer in them either for your picture.
And don't lie about your fish. Don't put it really close to it. No, that's a good point. Yeah, keep the hobbies out of it for sure. So when it comes to headline, you want your headline to be clear. You want it to be searchable, relevant. It is one of the most visible parts of your profile. It's one of the first things that people see when they get there. Headline pretty simple, marketing and internal communications. I have experience in both. Some people like to elaborate a little bit more on that, but kind of keep it concise. Keep it to where if somebody were to Google search what you do, it's kind of where you want to go with that. And Forbes published 4 worst LinkedIn headlines according to Forbes. So you put multi-skilled business professional. Really all this tells me is that you are in the business. Doesn't really tell me anything else about you. Savvy, seasoned, strategic leader. Avoid the praising adjectives. Kind of let your profile speak for itself when a user comes to it. Let them explore and draw their own conclusions on how great you are instead of you having to tell them. Jack or Jill of all trades. This room is full of talent. You're good at a lot of things, but nobody is a true Jack or Jill of all trades. Keep it to maybe your top 2 or 3 skills that you're really good at that are relevant.
Didn't you fall off the hill anyway?
Yeah, you fell off the hill too. So, there you go. And then Ivy League educated finance pro. So your summary is supposed to highlight you, not the institution that you went to. Don't give them the spotlight and the credit. Make sure it's about you on your profile. A couple of bad headlines. I want you to read this and tell me what your impression is of this guy.
It's like a dating profile.
More of a dating profile. I'll give him kudos for having a decent headshot in there, but I agree with Melanie. It's more of a dating profile.
He has no connections here.
0 connections.
Probably why.
And he's a Broncos fan. And how about boy Jerry right here?
I love it.
Rock star, very into himself, you can say. So avoid those. Keep it pretty concise, and you should be fine.
And there's no last name.
0
Just
last
goes
name
by
is just
Jerry.
Jerry. 28 connections, so he's doing a little bit better than a college student.
He's looking for new opportunities.
New opportunities.
Doing what?
So yeah, and look, if you want to find some better, kind of headlines, you can Google that. There's a lot of good examples of what to do. Just showing you a couple of things what not to do and what to avoid. So your summary. This is where you really put in what you do as a professional. It's really your value proposition. So what you bring to the table. Once a user gets to your profile, they'll see your picture, their summary, your summary, and then, your headline, and then they'll go right to that summary to kind of check out a little bit more. This is where you can elaborate a little more about what you do. Again, I want to show you guys some bad summaries. So there's a lot out there, but I'll let you read this.
Whilst, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, anybody that uses that word, I'm immediately not connecting with. So when I was reading this,
He's British.
this made me think, it was kind of corny and made me think of Michael Scott from The Office. Maybe wrote this. So The next one. What are your thoughts on this one? Would you connect with this guy or girl?
It's like a text.
I hope it's not a girl, I said, with a beard at the end.
That would be
So
nice.
that would.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to don't really try and praise yourself too much in the summary as well. Then the last one, I'm hoping this was a joke.
It's a 2 weeks notice right there.
Yes, it sounds like.
So I hope all of you can see how obviously wrong this one is, and like I said, I hope it is a joke. So profiles with professional photo, 14 times more likely to be viewed. And then profiles with a headline and summary are 13 times more likely that somebody will connect with you. So if you do everything that I have taught you, along with everything Sam's about to teach you, you should be fine updating your LinkedIn profile. Hand it off to Sam.
Thank you, David.
It's the fourth.
All the applause, you just got to keep that for me. As David mentioned, I'm Samantha McGee. If you don't know me, I started working at Danos just this past April with the marketing team and specifically with media relations. You can check out my LinkedIn profile here. You can see I work at Danos. I studied public relations at LSU and then got an MBA from the University of Houston. I've worked in a couple of different marketing communications roles since then, most notably at nonprofits and schools. You can read my summary if you want and let me know whether it meets David's standards. David talked about these three things. I'm going to touch on the next three aspects of your profile. There's two in the middle that we're missing that we're not going to talk about, and that's your job experience and your education. We felt like those were pretty self-explanatory, but you really want to make sure those are up to date. If you still got your job title from 3 years ago, go ahead and update that. Make sure it all looks good. So we'll talk about skills, recommendations, and accomplishments that you can add to your profile. And then also we're going to talk about how you can make some good connections. So adding credibility, these next few things really make your profile just that more credible. So the first thing is skills and endorsements. So skills are something that you can add to your profile underneath the education section, and it's just skills, things that you're good at. And you may wonder, I don't know, sometimes it's hard to think, do I have any skills? And we all have lots, it's just things that we do every day. These that I'm showing you are LinkedIn will suggest skills for you to add to your profile based on your job experience and education. So these are a few that were relevant for public relations, communications roles. Yours will suggest some different things. And then endorsements allow LinkedIn connections to really vouch for the skills that you have. So instead of me just saying, I can do event planning, if 20-something other people say, yeah, Sam can do that, then that makes it a little more credible and a little more believable. And it's not just me saying, hey, I'm good at this, it's other people saying that too. Recommendations. This is another thing, like skills, that you can add to your profile. Not you would add, but someone else can add to your profile to make it more credible. So it gives it someone else that you've worked with, a colleague, a business partner, chance to really commend you for a job well done, or say, hey, they're a pleasure to work with. A lot of times you may be wondering, how might I get some recommendations? So you can do this for recommendations and skills. I didn't mention that, but just go ahead and recommend someone else. There's a good chance they'll go ahead and do you the favor, or ask. So if you want someone to endorse your skills, you can just ask them. They'll probably will, or you can go ahead and recommend them. Same thing, recommendations. Hey, I'm trying to build up my LinkedIn profile. Would you mind writing 2 or 3 sentences? It doesn't have to be long, just something specific to say, hey, I work with David. I can vouch, I've worked with him, for 7 months. I can say that he's responsible, he's a pleasure to work with, but he's also creative, has a lot of great ideas, and really brings a lot to the table. Everyone, applause for David again. He's the best. And so, like I said, you're not sure, you can ask someone. Yes.
So what if you get a negative recommendation that you don't want?
You delete that.
You can hide that, I would believe. We can follow up on that. I hope someone wouldn't do that, but
No one's doing that.
we'll look into it. Let me know.
Maybe, has that happened to you, Randy?
That would be called.
But you could do it.
you could, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you have to approve their recommendation?
You do.
Yes.
So you get a notice to
You
approve
would
it.
not, yeah, you could just say no thanks. But a good place to start would be someone here, because y'all are all interested, at least somewhat,
Mhm.
in improving your profile, so you can ask someone who's here. Hopefully someone that knows what you do, because otherwise it might not be helpful. So accomplishments, you can add at the bottom of that section, it's similar to skills, but more specific things that may not appear in the body of, say, your resume. So, you know, honors and awards, different projects that you worked on that might be outside of your normal job duties, or your certifications, courses you've taken. You do want to make sure these are relevant. You don't want to put, you know, courses that you took in high school or college, because those are part of your degree and part of your education and training. But make sure that it's something also that you want to reflect about you right now. For example, in my first job out of college, I worked in IT. I would not put, I did have some minimal experience with SQL coding. I wouldn't put that I'm certified to code SQL, because I couldn't do it if my life depended on it right now. So make sure it's relevant to what you're doing. And as you can see, these are David's. He's got projects, he listed, you know, iSIMS implementation. So they're different, you know, projects that we work on all the time. I don't know, David, if you have any other thoughts on,
You want to see?
yeah, if you want to, you want to, yeah.
Steve, if you'd like to see this, but not yet.
Another round of applause. But yeah, so sometimes you just have to take a step back and think, you know, what big projects did I do this year that may have been outside of the normal scope of my everyday job functions. But like I said, you can add these here. And like I said, don't add your high school Spanish if you took that, if you're not, unless you're very fluent in Spanish. Please don't add that. But these are some other accomplishments that might be relevant in different aspects. You've got some safety ones, where, you know, certified in different, you know, OSHA things, or just a lot of different courses you can add. You know, this would be someone who's got years and years of experience, but these are all the courses that this person took.
And really adding certifications, anything that you've done, just adds more credibility to your profile. So the deeper they dig into it, the better impression they get of you.
Exactly. So it might be kind of the section where you have your resume, you have other or awards, anything that you put at the bottom that you really feel like it's worth mentioning, but it's not you know, kind of in your job description. So another fun thing that LinkedIn offers is the ability to make connections. So groups, I don't know how many of you are in different groups, but they provide a great opportunity to connect with other people who you might want to do business with in the future, or who might want to work at Danos, or your peers who might have good thoughts. So you can share ideas and opinions, and these groups, people will post articles or share thoughts. So it's a great opportunity to learn and connect with your peers. You might have a question with it, that, you know, hey, has anyone in here ever experienced X, Y, Z? You know, it's a great opportunity to just meet people.
And not just peers, you see the company tab there. Any customers that we do business with would be a really easy way to just start following them, see what they're up to, and it'll just start popping up in your newsfeed.
Competitors, yeah, absolutely. So these can be for areas of your interest, if it's accounting or HR, but they can also be just general oil and gas ones. These are a few more that, you know, may be of interest to some of the people in here. But like I said, it just gives you that common ground to say, oh, hey, I do that too, or, you know, I went to that school, or like that group. So another great thing that these groups are different ways to connect are good for is if you're looking at someone's profile. This is a profile view. This guy, his name is Paul Hagel. He works at Shell in their external communications. If I was looking, you know, not just stumbled upon his profile, but was looking for someone to work with at Shell for, say, you know, we have a press release that we're sending out, or just need to talk to them. I'm looking at his profile. I can see we've got 3 mutual connections, and then we've also got 1 mutual group. So if I wanted to send him a message, I could go about that in a couple different ways. I could ask, so one of our mutual connections is Renee Piper. I could say, hey, Renee, do you mind introducing me to Paul? I see you're connected. Or I could send Paul a message and say, hey, I see you know Renee. Isn't she great? By the way, blah, blah, blah. Can you please help me? She is great.
There's another thing too, if they've shared an article that you're also interested in,
Yes.
that'd be a good lead in to say, hey, I saw you shared this.
Yeah, their activity, yeah, so that's another lead in. Or like I said, with the groups before, you can say, you know, I see you're a member of this group. Did you see the article so-and-so shared the other day? I really thought it was interesting, by the way. Or you could probably send him a message and without even mentioning these connections, because just by me being connected to mutual people with him and by being in these groups, since my profile is credible, that automatically just builds his trust level in me as someone who might be good to work with, because he can see from my LinkedIn profile that it does have a little meat on it. Another fun thing that you can do when you're looking at someone's profile is you look on the right, it says people also viewed. So that can be great in making connections where I can see, oh, maybe Paul is not the person I want to talk to. Maybe I want to talk to Natalie because she's their spokesperson. Or I can see people who looked at Paul's profile also viewed Michelle, and she works at Enbridge, and maybe I'm interested in connecting with them, so I might want to do a little research on her profile. So there's just all kinds of different ways that you can really connect with people and establish relationships. Final way that you can, maybe not final, but an additional way you can add some credibility to your profile is publishing an article on LinkedIn. If you are a subject matter expert in your field, or you feel like you've got a lot of great experience in this one particular aspect and you've got some information to share, you can publish the article directly to LinkedIn. You can share it to your newsfeed, share it to the groups that you're in because you've joined them now since you went to this Lunch and Learn. But it really will establish you as a thought leader or a subject matter expert. It provides a lot of credibility to you professionally, and it might start some conversations if you share it. You never know, someone can comment that might be a potential customer. Say, hey, this is really great that you said this, and start a conversation that way. So it's really a great way to, like I said, establish you as a credible source, but also Danos. So all this stuff, if your profile has all this great stuff, it really says a lot about Danos as a company as well. It's that, wow, this person works at Danos. They've got all this stuff, publish these papers. It's probably a good place to either work or probably a company that we want to do business with.
A little backstory too on the Ren Lemon article. He sent this out as just kind of a safety thing to field leaders a while back. Said, hey, how about you turn this into a LinkedIn article on your profile and we can share it on the Danos page. So he already had the material, we polished it up, we added a picture, and now he is an expert on LinkedIn in that.
In marketing,
it's
we would
just
love,
that easy.
we would love if you're like, oh, I'm not sure about the grammar or the basics of publishing. We would love to help you either just come up with the body of it or edit it, or even if it's down to just posting it, publishing on LinkedIn, we can help you do that. So please let us know if this is something that you might be interested in, because we're always looking for opportunities for you guys to be able to share your thoughts, because you know a lot of stuff, and we want everyone to know how great you all are. And last but certainly not least, please like the Danos LinkedIn. It'll populate your news feed with some of the things that we post, and then you can share it. So shout out to Lucas and Sunny, Joe Mac and Toby. They've all been pretty active on LinkedIn and sharing our posts, because people, your network is so much greater than the Danos network. So if you're able to share this with your connections, then our reach is just that much greater. So a few action items for you guys. Make sure that your profile is all up to date, shiny, you add your credibility, join your groups, you like the Danos page. But basically we want you guys to, just like I said earlier, understand the value of LinkedIn and what it can offer you, both professionally and the Danos brand overall. Does anyone have any questions? You're all gonna go after this?
How many people have a LinkedIn profile? We might have asked that earlier. I don't know. Have you been back in a while? I know when it first started, I wouldn't go back very often, but it's they've done a lot of updates, and so it's easier to navigate. It looks better, so maybe it's time to check it out.
Make sure everything is, you haven't updated at least your description in a while. I would imagine that you've gotten a few extra responsibilities or worked on some different projects that would be great to add to your profile.
Some bonus material too on LinkedIn. They have what's called lynda.com and then also SlideShare. They own both, but it's more educational resources they can go check out. People upload PowerPoints all the time on whatever subject you can probably imagine. So it's a really good resource to kind of check out too.
Good stuff.